In a leaked video, an elementary school principal and her assistant restrain a 6-year-old girl and deliver a series of heavy blows with a large wooden paddle. After the incident, the little girl's mother decided to speak out. When the mother of a young student received a call that her daughter had acted up in class and damaged a computer, the woman was prepared to compensate the school for the repairs. What she didn't realize was that Central Elementary School Principal Melissa Carter intended to make the child pay as well. According to Wink News, the unnamed mother was informed over the phone that she would owe the Florida school $50 for the damage her 6-year-old daughter did to a classroom computer. As a native Spanish speaker with little understanding of English, the mother understood that there would be a fine but claims she didn't comprehend what the school official meant when they mentioned the subject of paddling. Although she says she arrived at the school to pay the fee, the woman was ushered into the principal's office. The mother was shown a front-row seat to her daughter's punishment as the little girl sat in a chair, flanked by Principal Melissa Carter and school clerk Cecilia Self. As the principal pulled out a heavy wooden paddle and showed it to the child, the mother says she then realized what was about to happen. The woman, who says she became nervous that were no cameras or police in the room, slid her cell phone from her purse to secretly record the act. The video shows Carter and Self restraining the child and bending her over so that the paddling can begin. "Finally you understand what's going on," Self tells the crying child as she positions her before adding, "Put your butt out." The mother told the media that she wants justice for her daughter, but admits she allowed the punishment to take place so that she could expose what goes on in the school. The mother also says she took her daughter to the doctor the same day of the paddling to confirm that bruises and red marks on her buttocks were from the punishment. "The hatred with which she hit my daughter. I mean, it was a hatred that, really, I've never hit my daughter like she hit her," the mother told Wink News. "I had never hit her," the woman said as she cried. "Nobody would have believed me. I sacrificed my daughter so all parents can realize what's happening in this school." Both Carter and Self were placed under investigation, facing serious federal charges. While many Florida counties allow school officials to engage in corporal punishment, Hendry County School District policy forbids it. It states, "The superintendent shall designate sanctions for the infractions of rules excluding corporal punishment." The policy also encourages procedures that do not demean students and do not tend to violate any individual rights constitutionally guaranteed to students. Of course, viewers who saw the footage on social media had mixed feelings on the issue of paddling by school officials. That is downright disgusting. "I can't believe an authority figure did this to this child. You just scarred that child for life. Seriously, hope criminal charges are brought forward. The child needs a voice," another wrote. "Unfathomable violence and cruelty perpetrated by individuals entrusted with the care of vulnerable students. It's shocking and unnerving," another wrote. "This should be done everywhere. Kids do all types of bad things, and there are no consequences. Someone has to discipline these youths. Parents are letting these kids get away with everything. I got spanked in school, and I got one at home after my mom got the phone call saying, 'What I have done, thanks, Mom.' Today I'm a better man with respect and morals," one user wrote. Looking at a lot of these comments, now you know why our schools are filled with a bunch of ill-mannered bats and our street filled with ill-mannered rioting brats. They want to be held responsible for nothing. No like to them is just one big story of loot and plunder," another wrote. Others laid the blame on the mother who failed to intervene in what she believed to be the abuse of her child. Sacrificing your child to abuse to prove a point is complete bull. There is no excuse. Find another way to expose abuse without allowing your child to be a pawn, one user wrote. If the mother had half a brain in her head, she never would have let this happen. Regardless of a language barrier, the paddle is visible and there was more than one SWAT. You have a voice. Use it, another wrote. If the mother was not okay with it, she should have intervened, not just recorded it. She's looking for a lawsuit, another wrote. The legality of the punishment is clear. If the school district prohibits its employees from such discipline, the principal and clerk are in the wrong. However, morality is another issue. Whatever one's opinion on corporal punishment is, the fact of the matter is that it's never ideal for the government to be the one doling out the discipline. In most cases, parents should be the ones to correct their own children and not rely on the school or criminal justice system to do so. If this was the standard, our schools wouldn't be as broken as they are. Despite the outcry and backlash, The incident sparked a larger conversation about corporal punishment in schools. Many pointed out that while some regions still allow this form of discipline, it remains controversial. Critics argue that physical punishment can lead to long-term psychological harm, affecting the child's sense of trust in authority figures. Others believe that it teaches children that violence is an acceptable way to resolve conflicts. Parents and educators across the country expressed shock and disbelief as the video circulated widely on social media. Many questioned how such an outdated practice could still be in use, especially in a time when child protection laws have become more stringent. The video's exposure highlighted a loophole in certain school districts where corporal punishment is not explicitly banned, allowing officials like Principal Carter to take such actions unchecked. As the story gained more attention, several advocacy groups for children's rights called for legal reforms. They argued that corporal punishment, even if permitted by law, violates the fundamental rights of children to be free from physical harm. These groups called for a nationwide ban on such practices, urging legislators to take swift action to protect children from potential abuse in schools. Local news stations reported that the school board held an emergency meeting to address the controversy. During the meeting, parents expressed their outrage, demanding accountability from both the school and its administrators. Some parents, however, voiced support for Principal Carter, claiming that strong discipline was necessary to maintain order in the classroom. The division among parents showed just how polarizing the issue of corporal punishment remains. Psychologists who reviewed the case noted that the trauma of public punishment could have lasting effects on the child's mental health. They warned that incidents like this could lead to issues such as anxiety, depression, and behavioral problems. These experts also emphasized the importance of using positive reinforcement and nonviolent discipline methods, which have been proven more effective in shaping behavior without causing harm. In response to the backlash, the school district promised a full review of its disciplinary policies, with some board members even suggesting a district-wide ban on corporal punishment. However, they acknowledged that changing deeply ingrained cultural practices in certain regions of the state would be a challenge. They pledged to provide more training for teachers and staff on alternative disciplinary techniques that do not involve physical punishment. The girl's mother, still shaken by the incident, continued to speak out in media interviews. She expressed guilt over not stopping the paddling, but stood by her decision to expose the school's practices. She called on other parents to remain vigilant about how their children are treated in school, urging them not to be afraid to speak up when they see something wrong. Her emotional interviews resonated with many parents who shared similar concerns about the safety of their children in the school system. As investigations continued, the question of whether Principal Carter and her assistant would face criminal charges remained. Some legal experts pointed out that even if corporal punishment was technically allowed in other counties, the specific district's policies made the paddling illegal. They suggested that the case could set a precedent for future incidents, potentially leading to more stringent regulations across the state. In the weeks following the incident, the little girl's story became a rallying point for child advocates and educators alike. Many viewed the case as a wake-up call, urging schools to reconsider how they approach discipline. A growing movement pushed for educational reform, highlighting the need for schools to adopt more compassionate and constructive ways of dealing with behavioral issues. Ultimately, the incident raised broader questions about the role of schools in disciplining children. Should schools be entrusted with physical punishment, or is that the sole responsibility of parents? The answer to this question remains deeply divisive, reflecting the larger societal debate about the boundaries of authority and the best ways to ensure a safe and respectful environment for all students. As the debate over corporal punishment continued, many questioned whether incidents like this reflect deeper systemic issues within the education system. Some experts argued that schools need more resources to address behavioral problems through counseling and emotional support rather than punitive measures. They stressed that children, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds or non-English speaking households, may be more vulnerable to mistreatment due to miscommunication or cultural differences. In this case, the mother's limited English proficiency highlighted how language barriers can prevent parents from fully understanding and intervening in such situations. It became clear that ensuring the safety and well-being of students requires more than just revising policies. It demands a holistic approach that considers the individual needs of every child and family involved.